Good evening, everybody. This is Mike Monty, one half of Long Island's #1 pro wrestling broadcast. We're produced out of Indie Music TV in New York. That's Ron Conkema, New York. Yes, again, that's Indie Music TV. You could also catch us on RTF Sports Network. That's RTF Sports Network, the #1 growing streaming sports network on the air today. Catch us every Thursday from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. Yes, we're their anchor show. And catch our rerun on a morning drive time from 10 to 11 a.m. You could also catch us on the Monty and the Pharaoh YouTube page, the Facebook Live Monty and the Pharaoh page, Twitch TV Monty and the Pharaoh page, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Anchor, or any streaming network. We're on it. You can find us anywhere. Also catch us on New York Cable, Channel 115, every Tuesday from 8:30 p.m. to 9 p.m. Also catch us Saturday mornings on Channel 115 from 6 a.m. to 6:30 a.m. And catch us Saturday morning at 1:30 a.m. on Channel 20. Soon we'll be coming to Amazon, so catch us there also. We want to thank everybody for the support. And again, please catch us every Thursday, 9 p.m. to 10 p.m., Monty the Pharaoh, Long Island's #1 pro wrestling broadcast, new, old, endangered, and let's have a little fun. Talk to you soon.
Television. While you put my lights out, better say I'm back and I'm standing. And you and I are going to face each other. What you got around your waist, I want real bad. And I think it's a disgrace for this country to have a Russian as a United States heavyweight champion. Now, it took 3 of you to get the job done on Ronnie Garvin. Obviously, you're scared of something. Well, I'm going to tell you, you're going to have to prove to me that you are a superior athlete like you say. The only thing superior about you is I find out that you go to sleep a little quicker than anybody else when I hit you with a right hand. Well, I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to walk that aisle, step in that ring, and I'm coming after you to get what you got around your waist. And you're going to have to prove to me that you're a man.
Let's bring in the World Tag Team Champions, the Rock and Roll Express, defending the titles against Ivan Koloff and Krusher Khrushchev.
Yeah, you're talking about the Russians. They want something that belongs to us. I'm talking about the NWA World Tag Team titles. You see, Russians, we went round and round before, and it ain't going to be no different right here in the 80s. So right there in Cincinnati, guys, come on down. The people stick behind the Rock and Roll Express. We're going to put your shoulders down for the 1, 2, 3 count, Tony.
That's right, Tony. The Cincinnati Gardens, baby. We're going to be there. I'm talking about USA style against the Russians, in which before we defeated the Russians for these belts twice. But right here in Cincinnati, brother, it's your time. You're up for the grabs for these belts. And we're going to be there at 110% because, baby, we're talking about rocking in the USA. Woo!
Nature Boy Ric Flair defends the NWA World Heavyweight title against...
Well, what do you think, Andrew? We were on the #1 broadcast out of Long Island in New York.
The Monty and the Pharaoh Show, baby. Brother, daddy, daddy, brother. You know it.
This is Gangrel, you're fanging and banging to Long Island's #1 pro wrestling podcast, Monty and the Pharaoh.
We're Money Inc., and you're watching Long Island's #1 wrestling broadcast with Monty and the Pharaoh.
Here out of Indie Music TV in Ronkonkoma, Long Island. At the board on an early 8 a.m. show on a Sunday. I'm missing church, by the way.
What? Yeah, you are. Oi.
Trouble.
Yeah, you're in trouble.
Matty, you all right there, bud?
Yo, yo, yo.
You're awake?
I am wide awake, ready to go.
Want to apologize? Yo out of him. Usually he's like, I'm doing fine. How are you? Wow, Matty, you're
gotta fake the enthusiasm.
Fake the enthusiasm.
If anyone didn't know, that's the star of the show, Mr. Jimmy Farrow to my right, Jimmy. Early morning, 8 a.m. for you. That's some crazy stuff, bro.
Yeah, not bad. Boy, the phone rang at 6:40. Farrow, get the hell up.
I got to give Indie Music credit, our special guest, pro wrestling icon, Ronnie Garvin, credit. 8 in the morning is early to deal with an interview, but we're also thanking the fans who would join us today who love Mr. Ronnie Garvin. But before we get with the Hands of Stone.
Yes, sir.
Great show Thursday.
Yeah, it was nice to be back. I almost forgot how to get here.
I wanted to quickly weigh in on the Mickie James situation.
What now?
Again, the world is full of this crap, and we got to worry about Mickie James being angry over the fact that the WWE sent her stuff in a garbage bag back to her after terminating her contract. But wait a minute, this is where it gets bad, though, dude.
Garbage bag. I still can't believe that. Go on.
But she goes to social media.
Yeah,
she takes the picture.
All right.
And then Mark Serrano loses his job over it. Because he put it in a garbage bag.
I heard about that.
I mean, I don't know. I've never been fired, but I have left jobs.
Yeah.
And how did they send my stuff to me? Can you take a guess?
Not in a garbage bag.
Yes, in a fucking garbage bag.
You got your shit in a garbage bag?
Of course! Why wouldn't you?
Nobody would dare send the Pharaoh shit in a garbage bag.
Okay.
What? I've never had that.
That's the way it's done.
I don't have anything to put in a garbage bag. I don't got anything.
Welcome to the real world.
Yeah, I guess.
I'd like to thank the band that sings the theme song for Monty and the Pharaoh, our own Jimmy Farrow, along with his partner Bart Griggs. They make up the band Wisteria Hall. Wisteria Hall sings such great songs as our theme song, Riding High, In My Dreams, This Life, Not Far Behind, Here Comes the Rain. You can find their music on Spotify, iTunes, and Reverb Nation. And go to their YouTube page, give them a little like, give them a little thumbs up, and all will be well.
Here we go.
If you didn't know it, you are watching Long Island's #1 pro wrestling broadcast, Monty and the Pharaoh, seen here on YouTube, the Monty and the Pharaoh YouTube page, the Monty and the Pharaoh Facebook page. Hear us on the iHeartRadio, Spotify, Anchor. Watch us on the Monty and the Pharaoh Twitch TV page. We're all over the place.
We're like the Beach Boys. We get around.
And if that's not enough, if you live in New York, you get to watch us 2 times a week, every Tuesday on Channel 115 from 7 p.m. to 7:30, and for early risers, which is not you.
No.
But
unless you wake me up.
Saturday at 6 a.m. to 6:30, where you'll be catching the legend Ronnie Garvin in the reduced version of this show.
It's condensed. It's abbreviated version. It's not reduced. You keep making it out like I got a performance issue.
I'm stupid.
What's wrong with you?
And on Channel 20 for the late night drinkers and the vampires, 2 a.m. to 2:30. We'll be right back after this commercial break with the former NWA champion, Hands of Stone. You know, we got to ask him too.
Yeah.
Hands of Stone or Rugged Ronnie Garvin? What does he like better?
Oh, man, they're both good, but we'll see you in a second.
And APB, American Protection Bureau, voted #1 best on Long Island for all your security needs. Call 631-390-9050. That's 631-390-9050. APB.
In the mood for a freshly roasted cup of coffee? www.offtherrailscoffeeroasters.com.
Elm Logistics, for all your logistic needs. Call 631-299-3595. That's 631-299-3595. Elm Global Logistics. Pride, performance, and partnerships.
All right, welcome back to Long Island's #1 pro wrestling broadcast, Monty and the Pharaoh, only seen here out of Indie Music TV in Long Island, where we have a special guest, our honor. We are humbled to have the former NWA champion and pro wrestling legend, Mr. Ronnie Garvin.
Oh,
yeah, brother. Yeah.
How we doing there, Rugged Ronnie, or is it Hands of Stone?
I like Hands of Stone.
Yeah.
Whichever you prefer.
Oh.
I have so many nicknames. I started the first 10 years, they called me One Man Gang. Yeah, for
One
10
name,
years.
Yang.
Yeah, at the beginning of my career.
Okay.
And then I had the name of Rugged at the end, and it was courtesy of Vince McMahon. Before that, I was Hands of Stone.
And that was courtesy of?
That was, what was the announcer?
That's Gordon Solie?
Gordon Solie.
Oh, boy,
well,
he gets nicknames from Vince McMahon and Gordon Solie.
That's what I'm talking
You really know your history.
There you go. There you go.
Well, Ronnie, first, most important, Robert Lurkey, I think I'm pronouncing it right, has skipped church just to watch this interview. So look at this. You're in higher ground right now.
Well, thank you.
Do you want that sort of pressure? I don't know if I would want that kind of pressure. Oh, my God.
So, Ronnie, I don't know if you're watching the present product, but we spoke about Mickie James, who's a pretty popular, famous woman wrestler, very talented, seems like a very nice lady, but her end finally came, and she received her goods in a garbage bag. Not just a garbage bag, it was in a box in a garbage bag with her name on it, and she was offended by it. So she went to social media, and now the WWE has terminated the employee who put the garbage bag in the box. Would you like to weigh in on that?
Well, I don't really follow wrestling anymore, so I wouldn't know much about it. If I ever watch wrestling, it's because I'm channel surfing and I run across it and I'll look for a couple of minutes. I don't know anybody anymore. I've been out of it for 30-some years, and but I don't know, but I'd have to know more about the history.
But did you ever get fired from anything?
No, I fired myself. I fired myself quite a few times.
Really?
And told them where to go.
Right.
Okay.
Well, there you go.
In the old days, the whole idea was, if you're financially independent, don't have to be very rich, but just enough to live for a year or two without being employed. You could afford to do it, because there was a lot of promoters that were a little bit shady. Not too many, but there was just a few too many.
Yeah. Well.
And the word gets out, and they promise you the world, and then when you got there, it was not like today where you got contracts and everything has to be legal. In the old day, it was a handshake or my word is good, and their word was not good. So I told quite a few of them where to go, and guess what? 7-8 years later, they call you. Oh, we'd like to have you, and put it down on paper.
Well, how do you get over those feelings, though, right? So someone really screws you over, you leave, and then they call you back. Like, is it hard to get over that, or is it just business? All right,
no, I treat them like shit.
Oh, you can say that
I tell them eat shit and die.
There you go.
Good for you.
There you go.
But, prime example, Crockett and I, we had a big dispute. And I was back there, and I was the world's champion like 7 years later. They were wrong. And a lot of times people recognize, they screwed me over some deal I had, and it was part of the, George Scott was the booker, and he was not a good guy. Not to me, anyway. So, everything turns out okay.
And then you went into George Scott years later again, and he's in WWF, or no?
I think he did.
Yeah. Did you cross paths with him again over there, or were you already out of there?
He was already gone.
No, that's, in a way, that's good for you, I guess.
Yeah. If you know what you're worth, and they don't have anything to throw back at you, like you were late, you were drunk, you was on drugs, you got arrested. No, I did my job.
Right.
I showed up on time.
Right.
And I put out 100%. So that way, they can't come back at you with anything.
Did you? I'm sorry, Mike. Did you find Vince McMahon Jr.'s word or / integrity as your booker when you worked for him? Did you find him to actually be more honest than some of these other promoters?
Oh, I think so. Yeah.
Very interesting, because all the time, all we ever hear is this Vince was evil and he's this, but he's more honest than some of the guys you dealt with.
Yes, sir.
There you go.
I never had a problem, and I'll tell you what, I respect him because the man had a vision about this profession, wrestling. And we had promoters that have been promoting for like 40, 50 years that didn't want to change. And like it or not, the world changes.
Sure.
It might be going too fast changing for my liking.
Sure.
But, he had a vision, and he's obviously a very smart man. He's a billionaire.
Well, did you find him to be ruthless? Like, you hear all these wrestling experts go, this ruthless corporation, or even talking about this whole Mickie James situation. Oh, my God, they treat these wrestlers bad, or is it Vince was a businessman?
Well, you have a choice. You take the job or you don't.
Imagine that concept.
Wow. Wow.
Who runs your life but you?
Right.
You know?
Right.
And you complain?
Oy.
You know, but most people that complain usually is the people that blew their money away. They were making big bucks, and they went crazy, partying and drugs and you name it. And then at the end of their career, now they're sour because
Right.
they're broke
Right.
or near broke or whatever. And I never had that problem.
Does Vince owe these? Well, I'll use one name: superstar Billy Graham, right?
He created those guys.
Huh?
He created them. Hulk Hogan, he created them. I was in the NWA, but the promoters didn't know what to do with them. They said, "Well, go see McMahon."
Whoops.
That's what they did. Send you up.
Look what they
Go to
lost.
McMahon.
Look what they lost.
Yeah.
If they would have had any idea
No
about
idea.
what to do with him.
Yep.
You know, the guy had a physique, good talker.
Oh yeah.
Well, it looked great.
Sure.
You know, might not have been the best wrestler, but look at the career.
Right.
What's more important, mic skills or mat skills?
Ooh.
I think you need both.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I was not that good on the mic, but I think I produced in the ring, and you know, and on the size too.
Right.
That's why I stayed in shape.
Right.
You know, if you start to grow a belly, you're not going to go very far in wrestling.
Well, I don't know about that nowadays. Now some of them have bellies and do cartwheels. I can't
Very
anymore.
good.
You know, by the way, speaking of wrestling vision, when did it all start for the Hands of Stone's vision? How do you become a wrestler? When does it first pop into your head? How does it all start for you?
My aunt took me to a wrestling match, way back in Canada, Montreal Forum,
Nice.
and I liked it. I was 13 years old, and at 15, I went to a gym and start learning and working out. At 17, I was heading for Boston.
So you
Told
knew.
everybody back then I was 19.
So you knew first time you watched it, or basically what you read, like I want to
Well,
do
I
this.
played a little hockey, but you had to be a super. There was so many hockey players in Canada.
You think?
What kind of living would I make? Unless I was a super, hockey player. But I wasn't. I was a slow guy. I played defense, and there was no way I was going to go anywhere in hockey.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and then in wrestling, well, everything depends on you. It's not a teamwork. That's why I never liked tag team too much. It was okay. I tag team with some of the guys that I really like, but I want everything to depend on me. If I fail, who do you blame? If you're in a team, you want to blame the others.
You won a lot of belts not liking it, though. I'll tell you that. I was reading your resume last night. That's a lot of tag titles, too.
Yeah, tag titles, and singles, and yeah.
Sure.
Well, sometimes the problem is your partner. It's not you. But all the partners I had were good, so I had to do my part. I had good partners. I had Barry Windham and guys like that.
Mm-hmm.
Tiger Conway Jr. I forgot.
I saw. Well, Terry Garvin was all over that.
Terry Garvin, yeah, that's how I started.
That list.
Terry had wrestled amateur in Canada.
Well, speaking of Terry Garvin, right? Everybody's aware of that whole Ring Boy scandal thing.
Oh,
Yeah.
Did you foresee problems with Terry with this type of situation, or what were your feelings about that whole thing when you were hearing about
That had to weird you out a
Terry
little
was
bit.
like that. He was one of the biggest ribber. He would joke with people. He would all kinds, and everybody knew he was gay. So was Pat Patterson, even in the 70s.
There's no secret behind the scenes.
They weren't embarrassed about it, and that's their life.
Right.
I don't interfere with people's life. Your choice is your choice.
Right.
As long as it ain't mine.
Do you ever see anything suspicious with the, like any weirdness or with the young kids, setting up the ring at the times, or
But he would joke with them, and back then people had a phobia. I get. Oh, he's gay. Well, he didn't attack anybody.
Right.
Not that I know of.
Okay.
I was his partner for quite a few years. And we never went to the same places. Nighttime, he was gone all night long. I don't know where he went. Didn't care. I didn't live with the guy.
Right.
I traveled with him. And he was a fun guy. He loved to joke.
Well, so speaking of that, right, you lived a pretty clean life, right? And you've been around some guys that haven't lived such a clean life, and I would assume, just like a regular life, do some bad things. How hard is it to, separate business when you don't agree with what someone's doing?
I'm not involved as long as they don't interfere with my life. If it interferes with my life, I'll speak out, But what people do in their private life, I couldn't care less.
You just stayed out of it, basically.
Live and let live.
It's the old saying, we don't swim in your toilet, don't pee in my pool. Right?
I like that.
What?
That's copyrighted, Ron. You can't take it.
I like that.
Classic. Well, you know what, Mike? If I could just throw this in. He reminds me of we've had about 100 guests since we started this only a couple of years back, but he reminds me very much of Bob Backlund. Here's a guy, pure wrestler, stayed out of the drugs, stayed out of the nonsense, has a nice life up in the mountains someplace. Well done, sir. How difficult was that?
Really, seriously,
it's not
well
really
done.
difficult. Is what do you want? Do you want quality life? You build your future as you're growing. I learned that from my parents.
Mm-hmm.
And it's pretty simple. What do you wind up with at the end of your life when you're time to retire? I retired in 2003, so I've been retired 19 years, something like that. And but I worked at it, and I was not interested. Well, I was not. I didn't have. Sometimes you're delusional. You think you're going to make millions and millions and millions, and you're going to have the Hollywood lifestyle. You're going to have this, that. I had a goal: save so much money a year until I get 55 years old, 57 years old. And if I was not on track, I found another place to go where I could make that money. I didn't care if the guy made $1 million and I made 200 grand or 100 grand. I didn't. It's what you come out with at the end of the year. That's what counts.
Right.
And if you stay on that track, and it worked out pretty much the way I planned it.
Very wise.
So it's easy to say that the character, Ronnie Garvin, is pretty close to the real person, right?
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Well, see, when we did interviews, everything was from here.
Yeah.
It wasn't scripted. It wasn't somebody wrote it for you. I couldn't do that. That's why I don't think I'd make a good actor following the script. That's not
Oddly
me.
enough.
I don't know, man. You're flying planes, so, someone that can fly planes is a pretty intelligent
I got
guy,
so
that's
lucky,
for sure.
so lucky to be able to do everything I wanted to do. That was another planning. After I quit wrestling, I flew cargo, got hired by a company. I had 5,000 hours, and I really enjoyed it.
Well, you must be pretty good at it because
you said
sounds dangerous to the Pharaoh flying planes.
You did say something to me earlier, though. You said if you would have known about flying planes or earlier before, you would have never been a wrestler.
What?
Oh, yeah. I probably would have never wrestled.
Well, you would have flown over the cage at Starrcade 87 and waved?
I still could have.
That's pretty funny.
No, wrestle. What?
I fly over the cage, I still can drop a bomb.
I wanted to ask you, what was it like working with the Poffos, back in the ICW days?
It was interesting.
Are they like they were on camera off screen? Because if so,
they were different kind of people that I was used to. I mean, everybody has their own way, but Angelo Poffo was a different animal. I've never been around people like that, where money was their god.
Really?
Absolute god.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Especially Angelo. And Randy. Lanny was happy-go-lucky guy, nice guy.
Okay.
The other two, Angelo every day. I was in the office. I owned 20% of the promotion.
Right.
Right. So I'd go in the office.
Well, let me ask you, can we just go back a little bit? How do you end up owning part of Poffo's organization?
Well, because I was part owner of, when we were in opposition to Fuller. We went against them and around Fuller in Knoxville, Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
They were operating out of Lexington, and we were operating out of Knoxville. And it was a battle, because it was, and so they're the one that approached us. They wanted, because we had a lot of talent. Bob Root, Bob Orton, Malenko and all the, and that's how we got involved, and they wanted me involved in their promotion. I said, well, I'm going to need 20%, and they agreed.
What was
Otherwise,
it like?
I wouldn't have joined.
What was it like on a daily basis? Like you said, you were walking into the office. What was it?
I really never had a problem. I just watched the way they operated. And, better rich and dead than poor and alive. I heard that every day. Every
I've heard him quote.
It was almost like a prayer.
Wow.
And I said, that don't make no sense. Better rich and dead than poor and alive. Poor people have a great time sometimes.
It's true.
They drink moonshine, they party, they smoke a joint,
a couple of aspirin in the morning, interview Rugged Ronnie, wait a minute, what am I saying?
And if you were poor, they didn't have any respect for you. There was a few wrestlers, they knew they were broke, and they just, they didn't have no respect.
Did you see the potential in Macho Man Randy Savage back in those days?
I didn't think he'd go that far. He was very
interesting.
He's a talented guy.
Oh,
very talented, but he was like that in life 24 hours a day.
He was.
He was paranoid, I think.
Wow.
I might be wrong. I'm not a psychiatrist.
So he was wound up like an alarm clock.
A couple of times I would do something, nice or something. What are you doing that for? He was always on the lookout for. I never understood
So
it.
he was paranoid, like everybody was said.
I think so. I think
This is
he was
before
paranoid.
Elizabeth, isn't it? Wow.
But the only real fight I had in wrestling was with him.
Do tell.
Yeah.
What happened there?
Well, it didn't last very long.
It didn't last very long. What caused it? What?
I was wrestling for Jim Crockett.
Okay.
And they just came in, him and Angelo and Leaping Lanny, into the promotion. And I didn't know them. I had heard of them, but I didn't know them. So I'm booked to wrestle in Columbia, South Carolina. And my partner was Tiger Conway Jr. And I go way back. The guy's a nice guy. I used to know his dad. Nice family. And so we get in the ring, and I knew something was wrong. There was something going on with the Poffos against him.
Okay.
And if you're my partner, I'm gonna stick with you.
Sure.
I ain't leaving you.
Sure.
So during the match, man, it was cussing. I mean, it was,
real shots being thrown?
Yeah, it wasn't going real well.
Okay.
And anyway, at the end, it happened. They were going to jump him, and so I got involved. And as I was walking around the ring, keeping Lanny at bay, because it was one-on-one at that point, and Lanny was kicking at me and everything, but he was keeping his distance, and I didn't want to hurt Lanny or really get in a fight with him.
So Lanny was like half-hearted into this whole situation?
Well, when I got around the ring, Randy was on top of Tiger.
Okay.
And they put a rope around the ring on those pedestal thing,
sure.
Concrete bottom.
Sure.
I picked that up, and that was the end of the fight.
Jeez.
So, well,
ow!
Some people got hurt in the process, in the schmalls,
and then
at ringside.
Wow.
Well, not hurt bad, but maybe their ankles.
Yeah.
They got
a victim of circumstance.
But anyway, I got all the blame.
There you go. There you
and so that's when I left the promotion, which I didn't care. I was wrestling the next day somewhere else.
Did it get even worse in the locker room afterwards with you guys? Or
no, I never saw him anymore.
Right.
Never saw him, no. And
but this is before you did business with them?
I never saw him till that year. It was, I think it was 1980, I think.
Okay.
79 or 80.
Okay.
And this had happened in the 75, 76, I think.
Oh, wow.
In Charlotte.
Okay.
I never heard from him,
Interesting.
And
years
but
later,
he
you
brought
guys
it
are
up.
doing
He
business
brought it
together.
up quite a few times. He used to call it the concrete block in the back. Well, you're in a fight. Don't drag it on.
You mentioned Jim Crockett. We lost him recently.
Yeah.
Can you share your feelings on Jim Crockett Jr.?
Jim was a good guy, but he was, I think he was a little bit gullible when it come to Dusty controlling everything. And Flair, they would really take advantage of him, I think. They convinced him to buy jets, airplane, and all the things that we're doing and promoting, But Jimmy even bought Dusty a brand new Mercedes, sports one, he was mesmerized with him. And, the guy was booking cards with 30, 40 guys on it. I mean, come on. It's not quantity of matches, it's the quality of the matches. you know, and he had all these chain match, cowbell match. I mean, geez. And I knew a guy that worked. His name was Sandy Scott. He was the guy in charge, bringing the money back and taking care of the, you know, show at the building, make sure everything was going okay. And he told me, he's a good friend of mine. He says, I saw it coming. He said, I'm seeing it coming. You know, we bring home $90,000. We lost $30,000. Don't make no sense, you know. Yeah.
Did he try to talk sense into Crockett and say, hey, look, you're mismanaging the way this is set up?
Well, they expanded too fast. And when you move up in this direction up here, things are much more expensive than it was in the Carolinas, or South Carolina, or Virginia. You know, like they say, hey, you put a ring up for $300 in North Carolina, you know, and it costs you $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 here just to put up a ring because it's unions and it's big expense, you know.
So, you know, it's funny you say that. So if you watch these wrestling documentaries, right,
yeah.
and they have Rhodes on there or Flair, they're like, if Crockett just would have stayed in the Carolinas, it would have been fine. But you're saying they're part of the reason this all happened.
Yes, yes. Well, and that's why Dusty wound up wrestling up here with polka dots. Because he used to knock Vince on every interview we did in NWA.
Sure.
He always put a dig. And Vince is a genius.
Right.
He put polka dots on him.
And then and there's a bodyguard named Virgil. Big bang! Don't screw with me, Dusty.
I picked up on it so fast. I said, "My God," because I didn't know Vince.
Right.
You know, I just never talked to him for long periods of time. You know, it was just small talks. And I said, what a genius! Instead of the old promoters, the NWA promoters would have told him to go screw himself.
Mm.
Vince, no. He made money with him. And Dusty made money, but Vince made money.
But then he ruined his career so he could go nowhere else because he was the one wearing polka dots.
Go from the American dream to a polka dot man.
With Sapphire.
With that, we'll be right back after this commercial break with pro wrestling icon, former NWA champion. The list is too long, Mr. Ronnie Garvin.
And not the son of a plumber.
Yeah, it was.
Jimmy, I gotta take a dump. What? No. I mean, I need a dumpster.
Well, for all those needs, you need to call Big V Dumpster Rental, Long Island, New York, 631-900-DUMP. Jeff Quest, graphics design, custom vinyl lettering, and all your art and video needs. 516-317-8204. That's for Jeff Quest, graphic design. And Nitro's Garage for all your automotive needs. Call 646-675-2349. That's 646-675-2349. For all your automotive needs, Nitro's Garage. Ask for Jack.
All right, welcome back to Long Island's #1 pro wrestler broadcast, Monty DeFaro, seen only here out of Indie Music TV with a special Sunday morning edition. We'll call it Church.
Hey.
With former icon of pro wrestling, Ronnie Garvin.
Ronnie, I'm actually going to ad-lib a little bit here, Mike,
Sure.
because I just have to ask.
You can ad-lib.
Does Dusty Rhodes get a free pass? What I mean by this is Hulk Hogan always gets murdered on the internet for being selfish and self-serving, and he didn't put this guy over and he didn't put that guy over. But it sounds to me like before Dusty got to Vince McMahon, when he was doing his NWA thing, that behind the scenes he was pretty self-serving. He was pretty
I've known
selfish.
Dusty. We traveled the roads early in the 69, the 70, 68, 69 in Florida. Him and Dick Murdoch were there. And they're a little bit younger than me. And I was driving them around. Well, I mean, they rode with me. They liked to ride with me because I drove pretty fast. And I didn't mind if they drank beer, and they were nice guys. But when he became a booker and involved in the promotion, that's when he changed. You know, I don't hate him. I just, you know, I saw a lot of stuff he was doing.
Yeah.
And I don't think it was right.
So personal feelings aside, I mean,
I don't hate
he was
people.
ruthless. He was ruthless behind the
scenes. That's one thing I put out of my mind. If I don't like somebody, I ignore them. I
Right.
don't hate them. I
Right.
just pretend they don't exist.
How did you ignore the polka dots later on? That had to be rough. That's a hard thing to ignore.
Well, how can you just close my eyes?
Here's one thing you couldn't close your eyes on. What was your relationship like with Andre the Giant?
Oh, great. What a guy.
Okay.
I wrestled him. I
Okay.
beat him in Knoxville, Tennessee, 1978.
Wait a minute. You beat Andre the Giant?
Yeah.
What's
What?
your story?
You can look it up.
Wow.
Yeah.
I thought I did my homework. No, actually, I was aware of it, but please tell us the
I
details.
got videos, but never of the ending. That was a no-no.
So it was a tag match?
No. Yeah, no, it was a handicap.
Handicap
He had a
match.
partner, and I was, yeah.
Wait a minute.
Andre and a
Andre
partner
had
against you.
Yep.
Against you?
Yeah. But
Who was the partner?
His partner was Welsh. What was his name? Roy Lee Welsh.
Okay.
I had broken Roy Lee Welsh's hand. Yeah, he was in a
Okay.
cast, so he was a partner with a hand in a cast, which he didn't come in the ring. You know, what happened is he challenged me. I wrestle anybody, and that's when I was the one man gang.
And he sprang Andre
You know,
on
I was
you.
the one man gang.
That's pretty cool.
And I said, I'll wrestle anybody, Superman, anybody. So they tricked me on TV to sign a contract, and then when I find out it was Andre the Giant, oh my God, you guys gonna kill me. And I said, well, I'll do it in one condition. I says, he has a partner. It has to be booked as a handicap match. Andre the Giant and Roy Lee Wells against Ronnie Garvin. And that's how they booked the show. It was sold out in Knoxville, you know. And he was a hell of a guy.
So you pinned Roy then?
Well, actually, I pinned him, and he got disqualified as the referee counted 3. He pushed me so high, I went over the top rope and he got DQ'd.
Hey, I got to be honest with you. I got to tell you, the NWA rules, that's one of the reasons I could not, I had difficulty with the NWA. They always change these rules, no over the top rope.
Well, over the top was an automatically disqualification.
Yeah, back in the day. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
automatically.
Absolutely.
And so he was so strong and long arms that I had him covered because he hit the corner. I moved out of the corner, he hit the corner. So he knocked himself out. And he was laying down, and I covered him. And when I covered him, the referee counted 1, 2. At 3, he was pushing me. The referee looked up. I was going over the top rope. So instead of the pin, he got disqualified.
Okay.
So we did 2.
Now, how did you get along with Andre?
Oh, Lord. Great guy. Oh, well, we spoke French, you know.
Oh, that's right.
And he was a good guy. If he liked you, he'd give you the world. You know, if he didn't like you,
Good boy. Good boy.
but he was a heck of a. And this is around '78, so that was before he went to Vance, you know, and it wasn't taped. The ending was not taped. There's no taping of it. But I got highlights of the match when he's down and I'm coming off the top rope on him and I'm beating the hell out of him. I hit him over the head with a chair. I was a one-man gang, so I was trying to kill the Giant. You know.
How does it make you feel that so many fans still love and adore you, that you had such an influence on the industry?
It makes me feel good. At least I did something good, you know. And at the end, it's rewarding, you know.
You surprised at the staying power? I mean, we're talking decades and decades now. I mean, your life has just been changed forever by the things you did decades ago.
Back in the 60s when I started, you couldn't even sell a picture. Maybe for a nickel.
Right.
And today, you know, and the world has changed so much.
Yeah.
You know, we were localized. You know, if you wrestled in the Carolinas or you wrestled, we would call them territories. So when Superstation in Atlanta started, the cable, that's when it started expanding. And
That's when me and the Pharaoh on the phone with each other, like, you watching NWA
Yep.
605?
Yep.
So you wrestled for Crockett, Gagne, and McMahon.
Oh,
Can you-
this senior, Crockett Senior, that guy was like my dad. Well, I was young, you know. When I first went there, I think it was 66 or 7. I was 21, 22. And he'd call me, bring me in the office. You okay? You happy here? You know, anything I can do different? You know, I probably would have been like Ric Flair, you know, probably spend my career there.
How about Gagne?
Gagne?
Yeah, Vern.
I only went there one time. I didn't stay very long.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't want to live in the north.
How about the way he ran things? How did you find the way? I know you weren't there long, but your observations on Vern as a booker and stuff. Not much of a recollection on it, or
no. Well, I dealt with this son, Greg.
Right.
Greg's the one that got me up there.
Right.
Because I wrestled him one time in Georgia.
Right.
He came down to Georgia. We had a match, and I mean, people stood up for 30 minutes. After the match, he couldn't believe it. He wanted me to go up there, but I was doing fine in the South, and I didn't have to deal with the weather, and cold, and everything is so much more expensive in the North.
What did you think of Greg Gagne as a wrestler? Did you have a little less respect for him because of his size, or did it matter?
No, he had talent. Of course, his dad owned the promotion. The family did. No, I like Greg. We had a great match. Mm-hmm. Like I say, I mean, it's like we had a feud for 3 months. We had never met. And we get in the ring, and then 10 minutes into the match, man, people are standing, and we had a heck of a match. I was shocked, but he had a lot of ability,
He was solid.
Oh, yeah.
He was solid in that ring.
Size don't mean anything.
Sure.
I used to tell the guys, you're 6'6", and if I'm 5'10" or 11, when we're laying on our back, we're the same height. And that's the object of wrestling, to pin somebody.
Right.
So you're no taller than I am, and when you got a big guy and you take him off his feet and he's down, makes you look like a giant. It does.
Has believability disappeared in pro wrestling compared to your day?
Well, they don't know wrestling. They know all these moves, this clotheslines, and all these, and they come off the top of the building almost, and land on tables, and I'm going. And everybody copies everybody.
What do you mean, in a fight you wouldn't get on the top rope and do a triple Lindy and hit someone with your toe?
You gotta shoot me before I was on the way down. Boom!
That's right. Bam. You're dead.
You mean a somersault is not recommended in fisticuffs? What are you talking about? That's terrible.
Well, you can do it. You don't see head scissors anymore. You don't see moves like that.
Sure.
But do you think the fans are a little different? We talk about that too.
Yeah.
You used to slow down a match with an arm bar.
Well, they conditioned them to what's today.
Sure.
And a lot of this younger generation, a lot of them, if they don't look back at what it used to be, and maybe a lot of those younger fans would be bored with the old-time wrestling.
It's quite possible, Mike. You've said it yourself that that's what the attention span is not the same.
Psychology was to pin a guy, submission, and wrestling, And you throw punching kicks. When I first started, there was not a whole lot of punching and kicking.
Right. Right.
Then the promoter would tell you, "I want to see wrestling," and if you don't convince people that they're looking at a contest, you're not going to get a reaction. Today they pin each other at the end of the match. You try to pin the guy right off the bat or a submission, and you go for holds, and they don't exist anymore.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, we got to go 20 minutes, and I'm going to beat the guy. So, and they copy each other. You didn't dare copy anybody. When I started in wrestling, man, you did not copy anybody.
Yeah, you get a fist to the face if you take somebody else's stuff.
You got a warning first, and then the second one will.
Well, that's nice. At least they warned you. How polite of them. See, it was just safer.
You didn't even need a warning, just a look on their face.
Sure. John Studd stepped over the top rope. Andre was waiting for him.
Ronnie, I was a huge Freebird fan, right? Yeah. So at the time where they give you the NWA strap, Jimmy Garvin was your stepson, right?
Yeah.
Is your stepson. Yeah. Was Jimmy supposed to win the belt, or was it always planned to give you the title?
Wow.
I don't know. I don't think so.
Right.
I don't think so.
How did you end up getting the strap then? How was that decision made?
That's what they wanted. That's what they wanted,
forgive me though. Were you 42 at the time that you got the strap?
Yeah.
Wow. Were you surprised when they came to you with that?
No. Well, what they did is I kind of figured it out. I beat all the four horsemen.
Oh.
And
that'll do it.
I was the one man gang, Hands of Stone, and so I'd have matches, man. They'd send they'd come in one after another, man. I'd beat the heck out of everybody, and I was getting over. I was, and I guess they decided. I think they wanted to give it to Magnum, but he had that accident, and so That was their decision, not mine.
You had to be pleased.
I
It's not a
was
surprise.
not. I never was. Belts didn't mean a whole lot to me.
Okay.
It was money. You know.
How about that belt, though?
You can give me $20 payoff and put all the belts you want. They did that in the old days.
Okay.
They didn't pay the guy.
Okay.
They put a belt on him, and the guy stayed. Oh, I'm the champion.
Is that what Carlos tried to do to you in Puerto Rico? Here, have belt, stay.
Well, here, you know, it's funny you said that, because this is a really interesting question. Ferdinand Salas says out there, Ronnie, when you were in Puerto Rico, what were your thoughts on Colon and the Bruiser Brody murder?
Well, I went there and I benefited from that because they boycotted. You know,
People didn't want to go there.
I have been there way before that, and I always liked Carlos. You know, I've knew him for a long time, and I didn't have a beef with anybody, and I think it happened was between two guys. I wasn't there, but you know, and Brody, I love the guy. He flew with me quite a bit. You know, I traveled with him, but he was pushy. He was a pushy guy, which a lot of guys are.
He was clearly headstrong.
Probably guilty of that myself, and the guy that stabbed him had lost two little girls, drowning.
Right.
So he might have been a little bit. And Brody probably said, "Hey, I'm not going to do this. This is the way it's going to go." Blah 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 blah, and probably a little verbal argument. And the guy came back in with a towel around his hand, and I wasn't there, but that's what I hear.
Your thoughts when you heard the news?
I thought it was horrible.
Devastated.
But he was a small guy, and maybe he was threatening. I'm not justifying anything, you know, because he never went to jail.
Right.
And murder is murder.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So everybody boycotted, and they called me, and I said, "Sure, I'll come." You know.
How long after the murder was this that you got to Puerto
I don't
Rico?
really remember if it was a few months, maybe.
Just a few months. Were you nervous about going there?
No.
I mean, I know you knew Carlos, but were you?
No, I didn't.
Interesting.
It was between two individuals.
You got nerve, man. I would have been a little nervous. That's why some guys were boycotting. Yeah.
Nah, I never even thought about it.
Did you like wrestling in Puerto Rico? The crowds and
it's
stuff?
It's dangerous, some places, you know. And I went over there and I beat Carlos Colon. And,
twice?
It
Two
was
times,
bad coming out of the ring.
Had that belt 2 times.
Rocks are flying and bottles.
But he gave you the belt and paid you? That was nice of him.
Paid me real well.
Oh, there we go. Sometimes you just get a belt and not
get
paid.
Well, they didn't have a
you
choice.
said.
They couldn't get anybody.
Right.
So I just set a price and no problem, you know. And I was going just on the weekend. You know, I was flying, as a matter of fact.
Wow.
I had started flying because I was retired.
Did you ever tangle with Abdullah down there? I'm just curious.
I think I did. I wrestled Abdullah 3 or 4 different times.
Down in Puerto Rico?
No, in Puerto Rico, I think I did once. And then other places, I can't remember what town.
Was it a bloodbath?
Yeah. You were all over the building. You did a tour of the building, you know, upstairs, downstairs, around, in the bathroom.
Right. There's a great hot dog stand by the bathroom on the second level. Let's go over there, grab something to eat. Sure.
We'll be right back after this commercial break with Hands of Stone, Ronnie Garvin.
Hands of Stone, have a sandwich.
M&J Video Games and Collectibles. Sport and non-sport cards, wrestling items, autographed items. We buy, sell, and trade. M&J Video Games and Collectibles, located at 1049 Queen Street, Southington, Connecticut. Call us at 1-860-479-9223 or 860-93-GAMES. M&J Video Games and Collectibles. Oh, what's up, Mike?
Hey, Jimmy, what's going on?
Yeah, nothing much.
You know, Jimmy, I love this country.
Oh.
I love to buy Made in America material. And I love to buy my artwork at TAG, T-A-A-G, Made in America, 14 East Broadway, Port Jefferson, New York, 11717. The shop at the corner. All right, welcome back to Long Island's #1 pro wrestling broadcast. Monty Nefaro, seen only here out of Indie Music TV on a special Sunday morning edition. I want to remind fans that after this interview, about an hour later, we have the 9-time NWA Tag Team Champions Rock and Roll Express.
Sweet.
In studio.
Sweet. Ronnie, your legacy, of course, mostly sits, obviously, with the NWA, former world champion, all the days through the territories, dominating. What was it like when you finally got to the WWF? I mean, was it like known today as the WWE? Was that like culture shock? I mean, how different was it?
It was. I got there, and after I got there, I said, what do I do? I'm surrounded with monsters. There's more gimmicks going on and angles, and I mean, and the whole idea of the business is to get on pay-per-view. That's where the big money was, pay-per-view, and that was new to me. I think we had a couple, I think, with Crockett. It was just the beginning of it, And, of course, it didn't take a genius to figure that out. That's what you got to get on. And I said, man, you get lost here. How do you stand out? So I looked at Greg, and I like Greg. Valentine. And so I talked to him. And I said, you want to work with me? And he's my style. I mean, we beat the dog shit out of each other. And one thing about Flair, I did the same thing with Flair, and he never complained. And I respected that.
So you do have hands of stone for real?
I'm not the only one.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure.
So, so I ran something by him about, and the whole thing was my idea. Wind up a referee and losing and come back.
Yeah, you shafted him.
Well,
really bad.
But
go on.
I'd done that in the past. I'd done that 3 or 4 times in the past. But every time I lost and lose or leave, I'd come back with a mask. I was Mr. Knoxville. I was Mr. Fort Myers. I was Mr. Ugali. I was Mr. And I would wrestle with my boots, my initials, RG. So the commentator would say, I think you're Ronnie Garvin. You got RG on your boots.
That's funny.
And I would say, no. This means rugged grappler. Rough grappler. And, oh, really? So I said, well, let's change it. And I'll come back as a referee. I'll go get a license. Anybody can be a referee, but providing you have a license up north. In the south, you don't need a license. So that's what I did. And then I was in his shit all the time, I mean, just drive him crazy.
Yep.
And, it got
you
over.
retired my favorite wrestler back then. Thanks a lot.
It
Thanks
got
a lot.
over, and we had some hell of a matches.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
is he in your top 5 favorite opponents, Mr. Valentine?
One of them. Yeah.
He's up there.
There's a lot of them, but he's one of the top ones.
How many Broadways did you do over your career? Did you ever involved in the Broadway thing multiple times?
I know I did 2 one time, Sunday afternoon and Sunday night.
What?
With Flair.
2?
2 1 hours.
Wow.
And then I asked for another 10 minutes. Yeah,
Wow.
Okay.
The longest match I ever had was 2 hours and 40 minutes.
What?
It was a Texas death match. Beginning of my career, I was a booker in Northby, Ontario, Canada.
You booked yourself to wrestle almost 3 hours?
No, I booked the whole. But that was my idea to do that.
Bet you didn't do that again. I'm tired.
I did
2 hours
a couple
and 40
times.
minutes?
Went closer to 2 hours.
Was this one fall after 2 hours?
No, it was multiple falls. It was a Texas death match where the falls didn't count.
Okay.
The pin, they didn't count. There was no time limit. Everything goes. Texas death match.
Right.
So we went in the ring and beat the shit out of each other for, we got probably 10 falls out of that.
Who was the opponent again, if I can ask?
It was called a Hangman number 1.
Hangman number 1.
Look it up. I can't remember his name.
Hangman number 2 must have been thrilled he didn't have to wrestle.
It's actually very smart booking because you just wrestle the Hangman the whole entire card. You just get paid, you two, and you're done for the night. Right?
Oh, that's that.
Not to pay anybody else.
Yeah, I didn't have to pay Sweatervest. That's fantastic.
Speaking of pay, Ronnie, what was your biggest payday for one single match?
Oh.
Go to 80,000.
Wow.
80,000.
Yeah.
Was that Starcade?
Yeah, I think it was one of them. Yeah.
It was Starcade with Flair probably in the cage. Yeah. Oh, my God.
I want to get a few fan questions in. Mike Messier.
Hey, Mess.
Ask Ronnie about turning on Dusty in Baltimore, how us fans in attendance cheered instead of booed.
Yeah. Dusty's ego. Dusty didn't like it when I got over. I don't think it was his idea for the belt to start with, but he did. I think Flair's the one probably insisted on it. Anyway, I beat all the 4 horsemen, and they were great guys. They were, especially Tully and what's his name?
Arn.
Oh man,
Sure.
One of my favorite guys to wrestle.
What a great wrestler. Oh,
one of my favorites.
Oh, the two of you together. Oh, God.
And he couldn't stand it. He did the same thing a little bit with the Rock and Roll Express. They were overselling out everywhere, and he booked himself with them 6-man tag. Because they would draw more in a small town than him in the main event in a bigger town. And so he couldn't stand it. They were over. These guys were like rock stars. But anyway, going back to the, he just couldn't stand it. So he came up with the idea of me put a bounty on himself through Hart, the manager, Gary Hart.
Right.
He paid me $5,000 if I'd knock him out. Well, I went in the ring and I did that. But of all the towns, I tried to tell him, I said, hey, I'm over here. I beat 2 guys, Ted DiBiase and Jake the Snake, and people, the fans were fantastic, unbelievable. The crowd was just, and it makes you want to really, really go at it. When people are with it, and so, no, he says, well,
I'm Dusty Rhodes. Don't worry about it. They'll be cheering me.
He got booze. I mean, I got the, it didn't work as good as he thought it was going to work. So he wanted to give me a partner, Alex Perez and Gary Hart as a manager. And the light came on. Because I know all that shit. I know what goes on in some of those guys' mind. What he was going to do, he's going to beat all 3 of us. Because I beat all the horsemen. So he's not going to beat me, just beat me. He's going to beat all 3 of us. Be Superman again. Didn't happen. I got on the airplane. We were going somewhere, do TV in Atlanta. I got on the plane, shook hands with all the boys, guys that, they thought I was joking. Then I walked right back out. It was a private plane, the jet. And shook hands. Even the crew, the pilots, they waited. They thought, because I got off the plane and left, I was gone. I never went back.
Wow. Wow.
That sends a message.
Here's a pretty difficult question. It's I guess it'd be hard to answer, but Make-A-Wish is asking out there, if you were in a Survivor Series and you could book it yourself, who would the other members of your team be? Who would you want to work with?
He's got 3 to pick from?
5, I think.
Oh, was it 5? I thought that was 4.
Oh, I'd probably be on my team. I was a heel all my life, mainly. Most, till the end of my career, the last, I'd probably like to have Greg on my side.
I like that.
Arn Anderson.
I like that.
Got
a couple more? Give me 2 more.
Jake the Snake.
Okay, got 1 more.
Ted DiBiase.
Nice.
Just had him in the last couple of weeks ago. Great.
That seems nuts.
Ted DiBiase might have been we were talking about this the other day, himself, Kurt Hennig, and Ric Flair, probably the best sellers in history of the business, I think, right?
Yeah.
So, Ronnie, we've had the honor of having so many legends like yourself in, and obviously wrestlers worked as independent contractors. A lot of wrestling experts out there are always pushing for a union.
Oh, that's the worst thing can happen.
Why?
Please explain.
Why? I mean, you're a grown-up human being, a wrestler with muscles this big, some of them, and they can't do their own deals. They can't talk. They can talk on TV. Well, go to the promoter and tell him what you want. And if he doesn't want to give it to you, we'll go somewhere else. It's that simple. You're not forced to do anything. It's like when they try to blame Vince for the drugs. I didn't do drugs. There was a problem. It's an individual problem. And there's no way a promoter's going to know what you're doing in your private life. And unions is the same way. Unions is a way to get, who makes the most money out of that?
The unions.
Union. Right.
What kind of listen, I never finished the 9th grade. Okay, I got kicked out of school. And I don't understand how people can think that a union is a good thing. I just don't.
I'm full agreement with you.
I can speak for myself. I can talk. I don't talk in sign language, so I'm pretty sure I can make myself understood real well. In sign language, I'd have to learn the language, But I don't know. I don't understand that. I heard that for years and years. Huh?
You were careful with your money. That
Well,
counts
that's the
too.
whole idea in life.
You didn't make a beeline for the bar after you
You
were
got
done
all
wrestling.
your life. I'm 76 years old, and I had 50 years to make my bed.
Mm.
And if I'm not comfortable in my bed today, whose fault is it? Ronnie Garvin.
Right.
Nobody to blame.
Understood.
I'm not a victim. We live in a world today that everybody wants to be a victim. They're hooked on this. Like,
hard to argue.
Drugs are a disease. Being hooked on drugs. A drug addict is... No, it's a self-induced disease. It might be a disease.
It's a choice, though.
Yeah, everything's
It's a choice.
Everything's a choice.
It is.
Every single thing in
It
life
is a choice.
is a choice.
I agree. Absolutely
So
agree.
you're originally from Canada, and now you're
Yeah.
living in the United States. Are you concerned with what's happening right now in the United States?
They're destroying it. I left Canada because Canada was on that way. Socialism, everything is government. Government can't run nothing. Government, we got homeless, we got drug addicts, we got all kinds of crimes, we got all kinds of infrastructure, we got the bridge collapse, we got all kinds of mess. Government doesn't work, and they want to fix the climate. Leave that to God.
Amen.
Don't touch that.
Yeah.
Just start fixing the bottom before we go to the top. And that part there, I don't think anybody on the planet can fix it.
Yeah, I got to be 100% honest, right? So I don't know if everybody knows, but The Rock is announcing that he's going to run for the presidency.
Oh, I could see this coming 4 or
But
5 years
I can
ago.
tell you, with
I could see
all
this coming.
legends that have come in here and we talk politics with, pro wrestlers know more about politics than politicians. I've never agreed
Seems
with pro wrestlers as much as I have.
Yeah, it
It's
seems
like,
to be that way.
It's unbelievable.
They seem to
I might
know
end up voting for this guy
They
now.
seem to know exactly what they're looking at, the wrestlers.
Oh, yeah.
For the most part.
Well, I mean, if you got the problem of what's missing is common sense.
Yeah, that's gone.
You go a long ways in life with common sense.
Yeah. Can I get it on Amazon by any chance, Common Sense? Does it come in a box? You got...
All right, Ronnie, we got about 1 minute left. We're going to hit you with the Pharaoh's final question.
Wow, I can't believe you're doing this to me so fast. Jeez.
I know.
Ronnie, what is your favorite match of your career? Your favorite moment? Just give me one moment that just, that's the one you think about the most, or that's the one that makes you feel happiest.
Andre the Giant.
Andre the Giant.
That was a privilege.
That really was.
He sold like he was 150 pounds.
That
I
really
mean,
had to be something.
I look like the Giant, a short version of it.
Yeah.
I was David. David and Goliath.
That's for sure.
I was David.
He's two Goliaths, Andre.
And I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
Because he never said a word when we went to the ring. I hate him. He was down. He was solid. He never done that with Hulk Hogan or anybody.
Right.
Ever.
Right.
Ever.
What a privilege.
Yeah.
What an honor.
I can't even picture something like
Yeah,
that.
exactly. I never forgot it.
There you go. There you go.
Mr. Garvin, it's been our honor to have you in the studio. You
Absolutely.
are one incredible human being, and I shared with you before, we had a friend who passed away of cancer years back. Great guy.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
one of the fond memories I have of you is his love for you
Oh,
and how
my
much
God.
he loved watching Ronnie Garvin in action. So, I mean, we are humbled to have you in our studio, and thank you
Oh,
again,
it's such
sir.
a great pleasure to be here.
Thank you.
Thanks for the memories, too, man. Thank you
Where,
so much.
where can fans follow you, see you, anything?
I don't have any. I'm not online. Facebook stuff like that. I'm not on any. I'm still operating with smoke signals. So I
so
don't
fans
understand.
can look for smoke signals and reach out to you, maybe.
Yeah, well, 2 puffs is I love you.
And by the way, before you got here, I was speaking to Mr. Garvin. I said, if the country keeps going the way it's going, I'm moving to Virginia. I'm going to live in his basement.
Really?
Yeah, I've had a lot of people, a lot of friends. They said, "Oh, when the shit hits a fan, I said, y'all come up to the mountain."
We're on our way.
I'm
there
going with him after we get out of here. I'll see you later.
You've been watching Long Island's #1 pro wrestler broadcast, Monty Nefaro, seen here out of Indie Music TV. You could catch us on the Monty Nefaro YouTube page, the Monty Nefaro Facebook Live page. Hear us on iHeartRadio, Spotify, Anchor TV, and catch us in New York Cable, Channel 115 and Channel 23 times a week.
Nice.
In about an hour, maybe a little less, we've got the Hall of Fame Rock and Roll Express in Studio. This is an NWA gathering.
The the train keeps on a-running.
Farrell, any parting words?
Just want to thank Hands of Stone Rugged Ronnie, and stay tuned for the Rock and Roll Express. And until approximately, a little less than an hour from now, later.
Are they here?